Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Another week, another win. Oh, man. All right, today is, pardon me, May 20th, 2025. I hope you all are doing well, that you had a fantastic weekend, a wonderful Monday. I was really busy yesterday, so I didn't have a chance to pull up. But I'm grateful to be here today. May try to sneak in another one at some point. If not this week, maybe over the weekend. But this week and next is actually a little bit busy, so we'll just play it by ear, see how it goes. Nonetheless, I'm happy to be here today, and I'm happy you're here as well. So here's to a powerful week, and so on and so forth. All right, so I'm gonna split it one more time. Let's see what we got. Okay. We like to see it. The Nine of Pentacles. I'm seeing a lot peeking out. If I go for all of it, that'll probably be a whole reading. First of all, I know this is the Three of Pentacles. Yep, that's the Three of Pentacles. I think this is the Sun. Let me see. Oh, the Lovers. The Three of Pentacles, the Lovers. What's this? The Seven of Wands. The Emperor. Wow, it just slid up. And this is peeking out too. Oh, and the Four of Wands. Wow. All right, so let me put the cards down. I see something here too. The King of Pentacles. Interesting. Three of Pentacles. The Lovers. And the Emperor. Okay. Everybody slide down. The gang's all here. Okay, let's see what we got here. Scratching my head on this one. Not really, it's just a lot of energy at once. So I'm getting off the back, there's just a lot going on in these spiritual streets, maybe in these actual streets, I don't know. But the streets is talking with the Three of Pentacles. There's a lot of gossip or a lot of chatter about something. Let's see here. So this chatter is happening behind the back of this King of Pentacles. So it appears. But his focus is on this Four of Wands. Some type of coming together, union, establishment, maybe even. So it could even be work, you know, like Three of Pentacles often gives like work vibes. And the King of Pentacles, who naturally usually is keeping his eye on his investments, could be monitoring the prosperity of it all closely. And maybe it's um I get this is something secretive here. So I'm getting that maybe there's some collaborative effort, some secret, behind the scenes type of collusion, or just talk maybe about the King of Pentacles, because there's an assumption that he's distracted. That's what I'm getting here, because his focus is on his coin and on this establishment, whether this is home life or some type of professional business that he's built from the ground up, or has some type of great stake or holding in whatever this Four of Pentacles is, even if it's just a deep invested interest. So meanwhile, this energy here with the Three of Pentacles is kind of plotting, because like kind of trying to plot in somebody's blind spot, or plotting, on some to take some type of action on what they believe is a vulnerability of this King of Pentacles, or just where he's not focused, or he's not aware. There it is, like aware of what's going on. But with this Seven of Wands, I feel like the gotcha is somebody is quite aware and alert, aware, and defensive. So maybe even assets that some with this Three of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles, maybe somebody, some group here. It could be even just one person, and it's just the energy of a person, or one person leading a group or a pack of others that are less, that are not so much in charge, but just like complicit, or just kind of a part of the plot or plan in some way, shape, or form. Anyway, like the plan might be to strike the King of Pentacles in a vulnerable spot, such as his finances, or such as whatever it is that he covets here. That could be the other thing as well. Thinking that that's a sure shot, or that's a direct hit, but it's not either known or realized just how defensive, aware, alert, protective, maybe even offensive. That's what I'm getting in a strange way. Maybe the Emperor is giving me those vibes. Somebody actually is. If they think they're going to hack a system and get to his resources, it's like, nope, try again. Think you're going to create some type of fraud on the King of Pentacles identity. Nope, those systems are protected, those accounts are protected, or whatever. Think you're going to try to disturb his home life, or disturb the could even be energies from the inside out, trying to take down somebody's everything that they work for, like everything that they've built, their career, their life's investment, their life's work here, in addition to it being just simply somebody's family, or their place of peace, like their sanctuary. You think you're going to disturb that? Nope, that's covered, that's protected. Yeah, and if the Three of Pentacles is giving me the energy with like a meticulous plan in mind, like a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. Like, all right, if this don't work out, let's move to this. If that don't work out, we'll jump to this. And it's like everything that could be a point of attack has already been proactively. That's probably why I was getting proactive, or did I say that? I said protective and something else. Oh, offensive, defensive and offensive. But it could be being there. The reason why the King of Pentacles looks so calm and secure and, kind of serene in the face, quite honestly, could be on account of the proactive measures that were taken before got it. Right here is a before the plot, almost anticipating what the what the offensive might plan or might have in mind, or just sewing up all of their their vulnerabilities, or securing up all their vulnerabilities, like I said, in every way, shape, and form that somebody could get attacked, at least that they could think of. They put a protective seal in place. Now, all right, let's hold that thought on that. Because how does the Lovers, the Emperor, and the Nine of Pentacles fall into play? Oh, my phone just went off at 7:45. So that's 7, 9, 16, and back to a 7. So 7:45 could be significant, or 7 could be significant, or 7 and 9, or 7 or 9. So the Lovers is about, what is the Lovers here? Because at first when I saw the Lovers and I saw the 7 of Wands, I was feeling like somebody's being protective over a partnership, or that a partnership is just heavily protected. Hold on, let me see here. This Emperor energy is not feeling, it's feeling protective in a different type of way. It's feeling possessive. That's what I'm getting over here with this Nine of Pentacles. It's like this Emperor energy, whether it's as a person or, I feel like it would have to be either a person that's embodying this possessiveness and this entitlement of control over another individual, such as the Nine of Pentacles, who's the very opposite, much more independent in nature. Even though, again, the similarity between these two energies is this idea of vulnerability to take advantage of. The Nine of Pentacles, the King of Pentacles seems distracted, but is he? The Nine of Pentacles seems vulnerable, alone, single, maybe defenseless, because we're not talking about swords or any type of, or even wands, any type of weaponry here. It's just a lady in the garden by herself, which in comparison to the Emperor's energy could seem like, again, an easy mark or an easy target. What's she going to do to defend herself? So it seems, right? I don't know why there's such an insistence to flex in this regard, but when I'm seeing the Emperor here in between the Nine of Pentacles and then the Lovers, it feels like this Seven of Wands is a defensiveness and a protective energy for a good cause, or a productive cause, like productive measures. but it feels like this Emperor, even as these cards are stacked above every other pile on here, you know, and the Queen of and the Nine of Pentacles is by itself. It's the only card where the Emperor is kind of stacked up high, almost creating a block from the Lovers. So this is giving me the sense, or what I didn't say is this is either a person embodying this energy of tyranny, or again, dominance. I don't think I said dominance, but possessiveness, or this is a principality. That's what I didn't say. Just like here with the okay, so here is where it comes together. So remember I was saying with the Three of Pentacles, this is somebody who's like calling the shots or giving the directions to those that are just kind of like a part of the plot, or, you know, like accomplices or something, you know what I mean? Maybe even minions, but not really minions, but just people that are more or less like employed by, or working for, or working with, but working for whatever this agenda is here with the Emperor. And the purpose on either side is to block union from taking place. That's what it comes down to keep this Nine of Pentacles energy isolated and kind of like barricaded off from relationship or union. Because I mean, traditionally and historically, the Nine of Pentacles is a single lady, so it's no coincidence that the Emperor is here right in the middle between that single feminine energy coming into partnership, perhaps even relationship or sacred union, some important connection, whether it's with a person, with an opportunity, with an understanding, some knowledge. It could be anything really that would bring someone to a whole state of being with the Lovers card. And it's also given this is an energy that is trying to block fate, because the Lovers is an ordinance that is of a higher origin. I don't even know what to say, like a decree or of sorts, than what the Emperor is. So it's like somebody really abusing their power and or overextending their power in a jurisdiction that they are not cleared for. Is literally like say this could even be a father, you know, real primitive, because the Emperor can be, right? This could be a father that don't want to let his daughter get married, or doesn't approve of the partner that the daughter has chosen, or the partner that has chosen the daughter, whichever, you know what I mean, or a partner that has chosen a son, whatever it is on either side. Hell, it could be both of those. God forbid it's actually a collaboration of two sides, which it could very well be two sides of these energies here that both have some type of stake in forging a separation between two people. And it may not even be a specific person in mind, but it could be it could even just be like just never again, that energy of just wanting to kind of possess this feminine force all to themselves. And if she were to get into some type of partnership, maybe it would be a loss of attention or time, primitively, but it's deeper than that, because anybody this damn invested in what somebody else does with their life is much more diabolical. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the devil at some point in time. But it's like having and it's under the guise of just wanting to protect who they love or what they love, or to be, again, like kind of positioning yourself to be the, like this, I don't know, like a safety or a shield in a sense, literally, to someone's innocence for their own good or for the greatest good. But it's actually working against what is divinely ordered on either side, and whomever is colluding, who's ever. And it could be something happening on either side of a union where it's not a collaborative effort, but more or less when the lovers shows up, especially if we're talking about relationships, it's a mirror effect. So what could be happening for someone could be the similar thing happening for whomever the potential partner might be. Especially if we're talking about literally a twin flame situation and we got the lovers and the four of wands. So this is the King of Pentacles, who definitely, as I said, not only do they value the stability and the foundation that they either have created for, almost preparing themselves for a union or some type of legacy establishment, or they already have that, there's already a coming together that has happened that they're protective over, or they have something in mind. They have their eye on something already, and it's like what they've been doing is getting all their ducks in a row to be prepared to, to fully cultivate it. And so that's their most sensitive, their most vulnerable, projection at this time. So whatever this Three of Pentacles is looking to bruise that in some way. Could, like I said, could be looking to make someone take a hit financially so that they don't feel secure to now take on a family and a home and to really move on to whatever that next step may be. Or to just distract them so that they can't really consider, they really kind of would take their detour their focus back on recreating or reaffirming that stability that was already justifiably created, and wouldn't allow for someone to really pursue any type of love or relationship dynamic, because that's how men can be, like good men anyway, that care to be providers, protectors, that care to be, a secure partner for whomever the object of their affection may be. A lot of women will just jump in, literally, Nine of Pentacles, and this is an indication of self-sufficiency as well, and security and stability in her own right. But as women, like we're not as hardwired to want to check all these boxes, especially those of a practical and material sense. We're more emotionally driven, generally speaking, of course. So if we find a good catch or come across a good catch, usually we're not, especially somebody that really makes our heart space feel secure, and we got all our own personal boxes checked. We're not really thinking about, oh, do I have the house, the car, the fat bank account, a 5-year, 10-year plan. If we're doing all that, we're doing all that because we're motivated to do it for ourselves, but not and also in reference to a partnership. But usually guys are a little bit more hardwired to consider all of those things, lest they feel insecure about the security and stability that they're able to offer in that partnership before they even get into it. That'll be more of a thought. And even sometimes, even if a guy will get into something, not necessarily having all of his so-called ducks in a row, you usually will feel some sense of disconnection or that somebody's not fully invested because why? They're still distracted about the practical things that they're building a foundation for, um, that they may not be able to be all in emotionally or intimately. And it may translate as someone not being fully committed or whatever the case may be. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And it's just really that nagging in the back of a man's mind to want to, have his shit together, or all the ways that there still are voids in having his shit together while he's trying to date or court or even potentially thinking of the long-term marriage, or long-term commitment with someone. So it's just really a nod to how we could be wired differently, but it also it's also about, and how it could be, showing, it's also about kind of being attacked or um influenced or projected upon, again, as I said, in your most vulnerable place, your most defenseless, at least so it seems, place. For the feminine, it would be in feeling that what she has acquired, that her security and stability is safe to now align with someone else. And that's not just materially, again, that's emotionally more so than anything. Maybe even spiritually, for whom it applies, especially with the Lovers card showing up. Because a lot of times women that are driven and motivated to establish themselves independently have, when it comes time to face the possibility of partnership, if there's any thought that could match or mirror, like I said, the masculine, it's about whether or not that there is this is a safe place to be vulnerable, because you've already established a certain defensive, a certain defense and security for yourself that could easily, projectively so be, could be interrupted or interfered with just being in the wrong relationship. The woman that has it all together, pays her own bills, has established herself professionally, has her head on straight, has a vision for her life, is secure literally and, secure in her own skin, is not really looking for validation from anywhere outside of herself, and definitely not in a partnership that is not divine or that is not in alignment with where she presently is. So that's the contemplation of like, oh, well, is when you're examining the possibility or proposition, it's like, well, is this worth me putting my security on the line, of which I have, established quite well, like having your own rhythm, your own, like you ain't even pressed about somebody to wake up to or go to dinner with, movie, none of that. Your sanity is worth so much more. It's like, it's nice, it's cool, it's sweet, but I'll leave all of that on the table if I have to sacrifice anything good about myself that I have, that I can solely take the credit for cultivating at this point. It just sometimes it just don't be worth it. So it could even be, again, this energy here almost forging itself to be a barrier of protection. And it, like, I'm even getting that this could even be this like projection of masculinity onto the Nine of Pentacles. Like, in all that I'm saying, almost making someone feel, this is such a stark difference with these energies, like almost making some, like throwing off the femininity, the feminine balance of someone. I wish I could say that how I feel it. It's like pushing all of this masculine energy onto someone, to almost inflating this idea like, I don't need no man, I don't want no man, I got this all on my own, I can't be bothered, almost trying to like cast a shadow on this lover's energy that is beautiful. Two people coming together on the same page is amazing, but like I said, this energy right here, it's doing something. It's doing something, and it's like casting a shadow on someone's clear perspective of how enhancing a divine partnership could be, and supplementing it with like this like blockage or resistance to it for reasons that could be valid, like I said, like considerations about protection and security and safety outside of the confines of what someone has created for themselves, like almost being afraid to go and see and to connect. And you still have to have a certain openness and courage to experience the possibilities of life, particularly partnership, before you just completely denounce it. But I'm getting something here about how an energy is positioning itself to cast a shadow on that possibility and kind of like overcast this masculinity onto a feminine energy, like psychically perhaps, or just like I said, like just projective energy about why they should just stay right where they are and don't give nobody a chance and to disappoint you. And you don't need nobody but you know what I mean? But really they're insert themselves in that, because what they really want is to be the only one to have access to this energy here. As I said in the beginning, they don't want to share. And obviously the Nine of Pentacles is a great catch, just as the King of Pentacles is in his own right. So it's like, left to, tend her own garden, it's only a matter of time before she would attract someone such as the King of Pentacles, who has his own garden to account for and visions for how to prosper beyond that. It's really like a match literally made in heaven here, that there are several energies positioning themselves to interfere with, to block, to detour, to interrupt, to defame. I'm getting that, like, you don't need that in your life right now. You don't need her in your life. You don't need him. You just need to focus on your bag. You just need to focus on your career. You just need to you know what I mean? Like, you've been hurt too much. Do you really want to put yourself out there again? It ain't nothing out here, nothing out here worth spending your money on, nothing but gold diggers. And like stuff like that that's going on these opposite corners of this lover's energy, trying their damnedest to keep, and this could be like generally whomever is in the market for such a thing, or even the interference between partnerships that already have come together, just running interference on those partnerships to go to the next level, to grow, to become deeper, more deeply intimate than they already are, to ascend together perhaps. These are the interferences that are trying to impose themselves for their own, selfish reasons, self-serving intentions, maybe even self-preservation, but it's definitely something that they get out of it and are willing to cause casualty so that you don't get out of it, or whomever doesn't get out of it what is destined to become. And that's really whack. And as I said, it's a secretive energy. It's subtle. It's unsuspecting. It could be energy right up under your nose. Like I said, family, co-workers, friends, co-workers, people that, or friends, people you talk to about your relationship, or about, they always want to know what you do this weekend or what you got going on, like want to be all up in your personal life so that they know what to hate on or what to block. It could even be as primitive as that, but not so primitive, because you'd be surprised, like I said, how the most unsuspecting people will be the main ones, creating, running interference pretty much in your life and in your prosperity and in good things coming to you, or more good things apparently, because it's already implied that there's enough goodness happening. And of course what that evokes is jealousy, for sure. Envy, worst case scenario. Not only do they not want not only do they want what you have, or want your energy or whatever benefit you are to them to continue to benefit them, they also don't want you to have any more. And the worst case is to have anything. Some that want to pretty much strip you of everything that you've created and acquired in your life that brings you joy, and that brings them joy, unfortunately. And I feel like the reason why there's no like particularly alarming cards in that regard about it, but I'm picking up the energy, is because of how like secretive and like disguised, undercover is what I'm really looking for. This energy actually is. The main one smiling in your face, rooting you on, like I said, all up in your business, claiming they love you, claiming, they have your best interest at heart and in mind. Sometimes don't take it if it don't resonate, please, because it's not the case for everybody. But I will say 9 times out of 10, there's usually someone lurking in the shadows, that you had no idea felt the way that they feel about you. So there's that. Let's see, do I even want, we're already 37 minutes in. I'm gonna get a couple cards. Let's see where this goes. Look at this, 5 of Pentacles. Yeah, they don't want you to add nothing. You can't see that. 5 of Pentacles. And still the 3 of Pentacles here. Just shady and jealous. That was the Knight of Cups. And offering to you like they love you, like they care about you, like they're rooting for you, they support you, they admire you. They may even want to, celebrate you or be a part of your life in some intimate way or significant way. But the Knights, to me, always have a little bit of an ulterior motive, even if it's noble. Like there's always something in it for them when they're approaching. So, Page of Swords. So just be careful out here. Yeah, exactly. They watching, waiting, observing, some stalking for an opportunity to insert themselves in whatever it is you got going on, or just to be nosy. Hell, like I said, some people just observe to be nosy and to have an opinion or to copy, or like, it's, who knows, ain't no telling why. But like I said, the Page of Swords to me in a low frequency is just somebody that's way too consumed with what somebody else is doing. And I said that with regards to the first spread. Like, you should not be so invested in somebody else's affairs, their past, present, or future, that you're willing to really sacrifice your own well-being and happiness to interfere with someone else's, because that's what you're doing ultimately. Anytime you insert yourself into matters of fate, as it is the Lover's card, like a divine ordinance, that's playing with fire. and there has to be retribution paid for that, no matter what, in spirit and in flesh. And it may take a long time for it to come around, or a long time for people to be exposed, but it'll happen. A lot of it's happening right now. As we speak, as I shuffle. Let's get a few cards out. I knew it. I knew all those cards was going to just take over the reading. But, I let the cards do what they do, and I follow how I'm guided to. No reading is ever the same day to day. Now it's all quiet. What's up? What's up? Now ain't nobody got nothing to say. That's giving energies trying to hide from exposure. Now because of the season and the era that we're in right now, people are, it's one or two things really. Either people are running to take cover, and trying to hide their hands, look like, nothing to see here. Who, me? Oh, I just been over here chilling, minding my business whole time. Or they're doubling down on what they've been doing because they don't even have control over themselves anymore. They just, they can't even control their urges and again, that possessive energy, that interference energy, it's completely possessing them now. So the things that they wish they couldn't do or wish they could stop doing because they know it's ultimately not producing much at this point, they don't even have the will or the temperance or self-control to stop when they, literally to quit while they're ahead, and those are the people ultimately that will self-destruct. But make no mistake, the ones running and hiding, trying to, look innocent, like they ain't been doing nothing, they'll have their day of exposure too. But at least they might have the sense to, cut the crap. And even those that don't necessarily get exposure, like I said, retribution has to be paid. So it's about the energy that you expel towards someone. Even if you was just sitting online hating over somebody's social media page, that's an energy that's going to come back to you in some form or frequency. And it can come back in some of the unsuspecting ways, where things just don't seem to go right, or it's always a wrench in your plans, or you don't quite get the support and the recognition that you think you deserve for things that you're doing, or you don't get the customer the customer traffic or whatever, the buy-in to whatever you're selling, or interest in what you're doing. It materializes in different ways. That's why it's fruitless. Look, 5 of swords, exactly. To just be in mindless competition with someone, no matter what the cost or the casualty. That's what I'm saying. No control. At the end of the day, even if you clinch a so-called win, you still have to account for the the strategy that you enlisted to get that win, to clinch that win. And the win don't even taste as sweet when that's the case, It's just crazy. So people that have been out here interfering with other people's fate, it's satisfying in the short run to be yeah, I did that. You know what I mean? yeah, I get she even if they don't think that they directly had an effect, but they were wishing for some type of downfall or disturbance or some distasteful outcome, and they observe it, it's like, yeah, like it feels so good in the moment to kind of what do you call it, like to revel in someone else's misery or misfortune or shortcoming or whatever. Like I said, it don't last long, because not long after you realize that you were so busy wishing on somebody else's downfall that you still down. Like you down bad too, if not worse, because you didn't use your God-given energy to do anything productive. Not really. Or nothing sustainably productive. Meanwhile, the person that you was laughing at or celebrating the misery of then picked themselves up, dusted themselves off, and is on to the next thing for you to be hating on. Like it's an endless cycle of hate that is never going to end. Because usually people that are the target of energy such as this either know how to transmute those frequencies for their highest good, or they're highly protected, to be able to transmute those frequencies for their highest good. Especially with the Lovers card, there's definitely, like I said, some protectiveness and security there, and favor, you know what I mean? So it means like a loss ain't a loss to somebody like that, for real, that you may observe that other people, like in this energy, observe as a loss, a breakup, or lose a job, fall on hard times financially, a demotion, like having to start all over in life, like stuff like that. It looks like a loss to people like this that are looking for success in a certain type of way. But for another person, it's a gain, it's a lesson, it's a stepping stone, it's a lateral move, it's an opportunity to evolve, to advance. And people like this have already lost because they'll never see it like that. They never see anything in their lives like that. So they definitely don't know it when they see it in others. And like I said, they don't even know that all the energy that they're projecting towards someone is actually the fuel for their fire. And that's the karmic gag. Then one day they wake up, look around, and wonder why their life is totally, empty, unfulfilling, unsatisfying. And even looking at somebody else lose doesn't really, it's not the high that it used to be anymore. It's like, well, shit, now that's not even arousing me like it used to. What now? Exactly, what now? And I really feel like, things happen in waves, but I feel like a lot of people have been experiencing these interferences the way that I was speaking of them in the beginning. And now it's like the upturn, like I said, of how people are just kind of coming into their own, evolving from their trials and tribulations, kind of spreading their wings as a new creature. And the decisions that get to be made in this frequency are not what it was when you were in despair, or depression, or feeling lonely or isolated. It's not the same. Like the Nine of Pentacles is not lonely and isolated. That solitude cultivated security. And the King of Pentacles is not emotionally unavailable and like materially fixated. Now there's a roundedness about in their security and their maturity that is opening them up to fathom how it gets to look to share resources and how supportive a partnership can be when you're not feeling like you have to pull all the weight. That might not even have been a consideration before because of their trials and tribulations. So it's like it's just it's a different outcome. Shoot, what was that? Oop, that was a tower. I should have taken it, but I won't. Let me just get a couple more because we have 50. Like, I don't even know what much more. I'm saying all that needs to be said. I don't know if we need many more cards because the Five of Swords speaks to an intention of being defeated ultimately. Because like I said, when this is your motivation, it's only a matter of time, that being the energy that you're expelling and projecting, that it comes right back around for you. It's yours. It belongs to you. So people are already, like I said, this is stuff now. As I said, the tables are turning and people are coming out of their shadows, out of their dark nights of the soul, out of their seasons of solitude. And they're coming out now, moving on to bigger and better things. While like I said, these energies that were so insistent on casting those shadows, creating a darker force against those that were just naturally going through their own growing pains, of which they should have been too. Now they're having to deal with their dark night all the same, and it ain't so pretty. It's not so graceful. It's definitely not so graceful because now these energies are having to deal with their own dark night, of which they would have had to anyway, on naturally, organically, but also all the energy that they put out there that's now returning to them. And it ain't so funny anymore when you can't keep your own head above water to be looking and worrying about what somebody else is doing, let alone to be laughing, because now it ain't even nothing to laugh at. Nothing's entertaining. Damn, like, okay, well, I'm going to do this one more time, and I'm the hell up out of here. Okay. Yeah, now there's a sorrowful energy, a remorse, a regret. Oh, for what's been missed. This like I said, this is like giving all your energy to the Five of Swords, when this is what was organic. This was what was worth investing in, waiting for, hoping for, looking forward to. People miss the mark, man, and it's kind of sad. And it also gives that what was intended to be blocked and destroyed, the Ten of Cups says that it prevails anyway. Not only does the partnership align, but the legacy to follow is also protected. So it's an extra dose of sorrowfulness on the part of those that were in opposition, because like I said, you spent all that time and energy gassing up on somebody else's misfortune or misstep, that you forgot to cultivate your own fortune, really, be aside from what was gleaned from someone else's misfortune. And you're enduring your own now, so there's that. And the only thing to really truly be sorry about is the fact that so much time and energy has been wasted, and there's not much to show for it, with very little to show for it. Wow. The Ace of Swords and the Star, and that's where I'm going to end it, because this is what's on the other side of the spectrum. People fulfilling their, first of all, having wishes come true with the Ace of Swords, and fulfilling their destiny. And it all being a part of the process, more or less, to have it, to come through a certain type of way. But like I said, everybody was on that trajectory anyway. It's just that some chose to mind their business and mind their own path, and take every experience as a lesson, or an opportunity to evolve. And some chose to be an obstruction, to be a blockade, to be a detour in other people's path, especially when it meant that they could advance um, their own efforts or agendas. Two different ends of the spectrum here. Everybody would have been, privy to this Ten of Cups in the right, in their own timing, their own, uh, in their own due time, more or less, whether it's this lifetime or the next. But I tell you, like, with this type of energy, there's no, this energy is no closer to this lifetime than they would have been, then they probably, I hate to say this, but some people just did too much. Because I honestly, it's not for everybody for me to say this, but for some people are no closer with all that they did and all that they, aligned themselves with, to having this Ten of Cups experience of life, this lifetime or the next. They'd be lucky, really and truly, to be able to get their acts together to, pay off the debt that they've incurred on their souls, ultimately, to find their way to this. Because it's still available, but it's like the degree of difficulty to achieve it, to become it, even. Because you got, like, the Lover's card. You have to be a vibrational match for sacred union, for wish fulfillment, for truth, for divine partnership, for a legacy of love. Like, you can't steal it. People are finding that out the hard way. You can't take someone else's or keep someone else from having it and still find your own, or find your supplement for yours within that imposition, because that doesn't last forever, and it's very unfulfilling, unsatisfying. It can only be organically cultivated through, your heart space, a cleansed heart space. And some won't even be able to get to that level of purity, to start fresh as the Page of Cups in the most ideal circumstances, to put themselves on that pathway. If they're lucky, they may have another lifetime or one beyond that. And then, God forbid, there are some that just are doomed. Like, they ain't never going to get it. They've been waking up every lifetime in this Five of Swords energy, and they're going to keep waking up like that, unfortunately, until they ultimately expire their bloodline out completely, which this might be the lifetime that it happens. I don't know. I can't say for sure, and I wouldn't say for sure to damn anybody to that type of eternity. But with all that's going on in this era, I would say it's definitely not it would be the time for people to really, pivot quickly before their breath runs out in this lifetime, to make some changes that can affect forever and eternity beyond, their lifespan, even for their own legacy. Some people have kids and they don't even consider how their actions affect their children. You may not even live long enough to experience the consequences of your actions, but surely they'll fall on your children or your children's children. And now they got to pay for some shit that they ain't even have nothing to do with. It's not worth it. The best way for people that have been, possessed in that energy, I truly do pray. What I will say, and I'm not in the space to interfere much with people's karma, and I don't think anybody should be. We all have our own pathways to walk, but I do pray that people get their mind back, to fully be able to observe themselves in their own personal truth, to see what you have aligned yourself with, entangled yourself with, submitted yourself to, allowed yourself to be occupied by thoughts, spirits, ideas, like intrusions of your pure nature that, like that fish in the cup, really don't belong there. I do pray for everybody to come to that revelation for themselves. And then from there, it's just a matter of choice. And like I said, some people will still insist on being in this energy because they can't stand to lose or to look bad or to feel dumb or, for their pride to be bruised or whatever carnal payoff they think is worth more. And some people actually will make the steps, as we all have had to do, to secure some semblance of happiness, in this lifetime, if not for themselves, for the life beyond, whatever that gets to be, or the lives after, or the legacy to come. And that I do pray for, I really do, because it makes the world better for all of us. This energy is not benefiting anyone. It doesn't produce anything, and it doesn't advance anyone. So, and look, still watching. What you watching? What you looking at? The Hierophant, society. Looking at, tradition, or looking at what this is really keeping up with the Joneses, more or less, because this is like somebody too fixated with what society has to say or what is socially acceptable or coveted, generally speaking, like, what's popular, still chasing a so-called dream of prosperity that really is a facade, but this is not really, in the way that I'm speaking, the only way that this could be productive is if I give this energy the real traditional frequency of what some call the God card, which is the Hierophant. But for me, I don't really see it that way now, being a little more seasoned in tarot, because this is the energy of man-made power. It has other resonances and frequencies, especially if we're talking about people that operate in that function, as a spiritual leader or just a leader in general. But in terms of what could only be the highest frequency of these two cards, is if somebody is really looking to be their highest self and looking to find their identity, or just learn more about how they can evolve their nature to a place that is upstanding, that is honorable, that is something to be reverenced, more or less, in their own right, of course, not by societal standards, but by what they truly do value as moral and ethical and honorable. But in all that I'm speaking, so literally it's two ends. It can only be two ends of the spectrum. It could be that in the highest resonance, or in the lower frequency, probably close to the lowest, because the only worst this could be is maybe, like I said, the Devil card. But this is, again, somebody that's too invested in what society projects to them is the truth, what society projects matters, and what society projects is possible for their lives. And when we allow society, to dictate our parameters, our limitations, or our potential. It's always a recipe for disaster, because it sets a precedent that is unachievable most times. And even if it is achievable, it's in a very cookie cutter construct that the star is not even meant to fit within. So every time that you're looking to fit that mold, whatever is, palatable or acceptable, you always want to run into some bump in the road, or some way in which you ultimately are faced with the choice of selling your soul or sacrificing your truth for some lesser return or reward, because society can only really give you but so much. And as I said, it'll never be sustainable on its own, and in 9 times out of 10, it won't be satisfying, especially not for very long. So you'll always be panting for more acceptance, more approval, more money, more power, more acknowledgement, more attention. It'll never be enough. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.